Hello, it is now 3 p.m. and I've read exactly 0 pages. Let's hope I don't fall asleep. Well, that does not bode well. Hello, fellow book nerds. Welcome to the Bookopoly vlog. If you don't know, Bookopoly is this TBR game created by Becca from Becca's Books, and she basically prepares Monopoly version but with books. That's how she makes her TBR. Now, she's also made a version for all of us sheep. She created this 24-hour readathon, no, 48-hour readathon. She will roll the dice, and basically every time she lands on a spot, we get 2 prompts. There's gonna be prompts every 12 hours, and this readathon is actually 100% live. So for 48 hours, there's at some point a booktuber doing reading sprints or a live show for this readathon. How freaking cool. So I definitely wanted to be involved. I mean, I'm not involved in any official capacity. I'm definitely not that cool. But I am involved as in, like, I'm participating. This is gonna be tricky because, well, my weekends are for cleaning my house, and also it's my anniversary, my 4-year anniversary with my boyfriend on Sunday, so I can't really bail on him. So depending on how our day goes, I might read, I might not read. This might be a 24-hour thing, but I will definitely read tomorrow. I'm gonna link a video to Becca explaining this, explaining Bookopoly and all of that down below. I'm kind of going here with an assumption that you know what's happening more or less. My initial plan was to do a 48-hour saga, the comic series read-along, well, readathon, where I just read the whole series. I actually went on Twitter and I asked, if I were to vlog my Becca's Bookopoly experience, would you prefer I read one book series which fits one prompt, or actually follow the rules and try to read multiple unconnected books? And I had like 4 votes, and they were split, and then Becca retweeted it and I got 71 votes, which I never get that many votes or anything. The vote was almost unanimous. People were not a fan of the whole one series idea. So that means I'm just choosing some unconnected books and just whatever fits my fancy, because it's a 48-hour readathon and I don't really think I'm gonna have that. Like, I'm gonna sleep. I need my sleep, otherwise I get cranky, my head hurts, and like, it's not a fun time. Like, I get really bitchy, okay? If I don't get my sleep, I get bitchy. So we don't want that. So there are 2 prompts already out, and one of those prompts a fantasy, and the second prompt is a dark color. So I was kind of like, oh, what should I read? I don't know. And then I thought it'd be fun to have an audiobook, because I usually start my day, exercise, and then clean my whole house in Saturday. And when I clean, I listen to audiobooks. So I thought I could smash out a really quick audiobook. So I've chosen to read The Order of the Pure Moon Reflected in Water by Zen Cho. It's a very short fantasy, wuxia fantasy. I'm not sure what that means. It's a fantasy that combines the vibrancy of old school martial arts movies with characters drawn from the margins of history. How exciting is that? I've been wanting to read this book for a while. The audiobook is only 4 hours long, and I listened to it like 1.5 speed, so it should be enough to read during my cleaning hour. And this is not set in stone, but I'm thinking that the first book I'm going to be reading physically, or on ebook, really, not physically, but on ebook, is going to be Rhapsody. Sorry, it's called Rhapsodic. I thought this would be a perfect book because I heard about it from Becca, and she always talks about it because it's a fantasy romance. And I know this is about this girl who made a bunch of bargains with the bargainer, and every bargain is like beats upon her body, and normally like the bargainer comes to collect the debt really quickly, but he gave her like years upon years of the debts just accumulating, and now it's like many years into the future and he's come to collect, something like that. So although it's not Saturday yet, it's only 8 p.m. on a Friday, so I'm not gonna start reading yet, but I just wanted to film this introductory clip so we can get acquainted and you know what I'm up to. I look like a mess, I'm sorry, I had a whole day, I was at work, but tomorrow is a new day. I am super hyped for this. I have not had a 48-hour readathon since I read the whole Hunger Games trilogy, and that was painful. That was 3 books in 2 days, and I was just like, I can't do that. So with this one, we're aiming for 2. We're hoping for 3 because I just bought the Binti series on my Kindle, so I'm thinking that'd be fun, but we don't know what the next prompts are. So the next prompt 3 and 4 are gonna come at 12 p.m. so we're gonna wait for this and just read these books. Depending on how far I get into them, Might pick up a new one, might not. Anyway, wish me luck. I'm really curious how this is gonna go. Well, hello to that. Well, hello and welcome to the readathon. How exciting. We are here. It is now Saturday. It's 11:45, so we're gonna get new prompts in like 15 minutes. I'm not ready. So I started the first book, The Order of the Pure Moon Reflected in Water by Zen Cho. I'm about 34% in, so I was like cleaning up and reading it. That was an experience. All of a sudden, you know, when you want to do something, like everyone needs something or whatever. So I only have 2.5 hours left, but I'm listening to it on 1.5 speed. So I'm thinking we can definitely get it done today. I'm gonna go on a walk or something and listen to the rest of it. So it'd probably be good for me to tell you what this is about. The Order of the Moon Reflected in Water, which is like the longest title ever. Basically, we follow this group of bandits who enter this tavern, and in there's a nun who, like, one of the clients is like, oh, you're a witch, whatever, and then the bandits like defend her basically, and then she loses her job as a waitress, so she just joins them on their journey, and the bandits are going to another city in order to sell some goods, and the nun just joins them. I guess it's really short story, so I googled what the wuxia type of fantasy is, and it's basically this fantasy with like martial arts, as far as I understood. Like, there's not really been any martial arts. There's been quite a lot of talk about religion because the nun is obviously from the Order of the Moon Reflected in Water. But yeah, so far not that much of actual martial arts. So yeah, now that I've cleaned my house and I've exercised, I am free to do whatever I want for the rest of the day, and we're gonna start Rhapsodic. I am really curious to see what the new prompts are. I probably still will stick to Rhapsodic just because it's a book that I've been looking forward to reading for such a long time. Maybe if the other prompts just like give me inspiration for a book that I really want to read, then we're gonna do that. I've realized I have literally no small books that I own physically because in my head it's only worth buying books if they're really big. I have some small ones, but I've read them or I'm waiting for a special video to read them in. So ebooks it is. Alright, the time is 11:49 and in 10 minutes we're finding out the prompts. Well, hello, it is now 3 p.m. and I've read exactly 0 pages. So my boyfriend really wanted to watch the Justice League Snyder Cut, and we agreed, okay, we'll watch 2 hours of that, and we did, and he fell asleep, so that's that. But now it's 3 p.m. and I have not read. If I finish one book, it's gonna be a miracle. We have a new prompt, and one of the prompts was contemporary and one was a book written by a POC or with POC characters. I'm actually thinking, because I'm doing already a prompt from the first roll, which was the fantasy, and I'm reading the whole Reflected in Moon Water thingy. Let's actually postpone Rhapsodic to tomorrow if we manage to get to it, and read the second book in the Binti series. So I think it's called Binti Home. So I read Binti like a while ago and I really like it. It's by a black author. I think her name is Nandi Okorafor. It talks about a girl from this tribe that's never really had any outsiders and they never leave, and she gets a scholarship to study at this very prestigious university on the other side of the galaxy. So it's a sci-fi, and basically she goes on the ship to that university, and the story is really short. I think it's only 126 pages, and I think the second one is just as short. So I'm thinking, let's get that one done so I feel like I've accomplished something, then start Rhapsodic, because I still really want to read it. But if I only have so few hours, maybe today I can finish Binti Home, but I probably couldn't finish Rhapsodic. An update, because I actually bought like the trilogy bind up, and there's a short story between books 1 and 2. So I'm gonna read the short story now, which is 36 pages, I think. So maybe I can handle it. And then we're gonna read the second book. Okay. short story, but I have not finished the main book. I mean, I'm not really counting the short stories in because it was what, like 30, a little bit over 30 pages. It took me like 40 minutes still because I like almost fell asleep. Not because of the book, I was just like really sleepy and hard to focus. And also the book, I don't really remember that much from the first one, and they're really not explaining it. And I'm really hoping the second book will explain a little bit more, like about all the words and what they mean. I don't think there was a glossary, so I don't know if I'm just being silly or what. I'm really confused as to what's even happening. Let's hope I don't fall asleep. Well, that does not bode well. Let's hope I can stay awake and read at least one book today. That would be awesome. I'm thinking I might play some games on my phone and listen to the audiobook because I'm so tired. Oh my god, and have a coffee. I definitely need a coffee. And it's now 4:20. The day's almost gone and I've done nothing. Alright, it's 9:30. I've read one chapter of Pinty and I'm on like chapter 5 of the moon reflected in water thingy. Okay, we ended up finishing the Justice League movie. It was definitely better than the first one, I think, but it was so long and so weird. And the ending, you're just like, can someone explain to me what an anti-life equation is? Like, is it actual math? Anyway, that's besides the point. I just wanted to say I am going to hopefully read for at least an hour and a half. I keep like wanting to fall asleep and dozing off. Here's to hoping tomorrow will be better. I highly doubt it. If I finish these 2 books, I'm gonna consider this readathon a huge success because it's not gonna happen. We're going on a picnic to celebrate our love with my boyfriend, so maybe I can read there, just like squeeze it in. It's now Sunday morning. Well, not morning. It's 11:30, but it's okay because I did end up having quite a good reading morning. So I finished The Order of the Moon Reflected in Water. Yeah, The Order of the Pure Moon Reflected in Water. I think for a short story it was really good. I gave it 3.5 stars. For such a short story, because it was only, what, 4 hours, it did really talk about a lot of important issues of like identity and gender identity especially. There was a trans character which was really welcomed and unexpected, and I think it was introduced in a very low-key way of not making it like a big deal, but at the same time did discuss it a little, so I really enjoyed that. Characters were okay. It was pretty short, not gonna lie, and it's hard to fall in love with a story super deeply if it's this short, but at the same time I enjoyed my time. I think the audiobook narrator was really good. I think it was fun to read something set in an Asia-inspired world. The author is Malaysian actually, which I found super interesting. I did expect a bit more of a high stakes like fighting thing because it's a martial arts fantasy, the wuxia fantasy. So I did think, oh, it would be like really high stakes, really fast, really fighting. But the fighting was really minimal. So I don't know if that's something you're into. If you're looking for like a martial arts inspired fantasy, I don't know if this would scratch your itch necessarily. But if you're looking for a story set somewhere new, different, exciting, talking about identity, having diverse characters, I would really recommend it. I did enjoy it, like I said. And I also got over halfway into Binti. I only have about 30 pages left, so we'll see if I start a new book today or not. I am really enjoying Binti. It's talking about the repercussions of what happened in the first book, so obviously I'm not going to spoil it, but it has a lot to do with PTSD and trauma and overcoming that and finding your own identity, and I think that's super cool. Again, there's like very diverse characters because this is set on this place where there's all these different alien races. It's just the way it's handled, it's so imaginative and diverse. There's so many different characters that represent different factions of existence, and like the aliens are completely different than the humans. They're also humanoid aliens, but like there's oh my god, there's also aliens that look nothing like humans, and I think that's super interesting because I feel like a lot of times, at least sci-fi I read, it's all humanoid aliens, but these are definitely not, and I really enjoyed that. Again, there's a trans character which is super casually mentioned, not like a big deal and this is their coming out story, but just existing in this world, not being questioned for it, which I think is super cool because we need those important coming out stories, but we also need just trans people, gay people existing and living their life and being accepted. So I'm really enjoying it. The story is still as confusing as it was. There's no glossary, nothing explaining what's happening. I am really confused. What are you gonna do? I mean, I'm just kind of accepting at this point. I wish I offered it like a little bit more work on just like making it a little bit more understandable. There's big concepts being introduced that are important to the story that I just don't understand. Like they don't expect it explain at all and just don't really understand the importance of them because they're so casually mentioned. So I don't know, that's one thing I wish they offered it a little bit more job on like explaining the words. I know this is just like being thrown, like sort of again I read recently and that one's just like being thrown as well, but because it's a longer story I feel like it's just easier to find yourself. And this one there are many times where I've been confused just because the words used were nowhere explained and I can't find a glossary. I did it. I finished another book, which miracle, yeah, perhaps. Alright, so I finished Binti Home and it was really good. They did end up explaining a little bit more. I know that was one of my biggest complaints. How can they just throw you and not explain anything? It's really confusing anyway, even when they explain things. It's just a bit like, what is even happening? But I think that's just part of it being a sci-fi. And as a sci-fi world, I really like it. I think it's really interesting and creative and diverse, and maybe I just don't read that much sci-fi, so I'm impressed by what some people might think is like completely average, but for me it was cool and impressive, and I liked all the different species and how they worked, and I like that this world is really complex. Even just the snippets that we see of it that the main character is involved in is just really complex. Yeah, so that was book number 2. There were 2 more roles, and I think one of them was start a new book in the series, and one was and the other one was chance card, which means they have to like put a bunch of books and then randomize it. Oh, there were more. Okay, book set in present day, and then a book from a genre you don't typically read. So there were many roles, and we're still kind of caught up in the old ones. I think I'm gonna stick to Rhapsodic. I'm gonna start it. I'm definitely not gonna finish it today, but I'm gonna start it, and it's gonna fill out the fantasy prompt, the dark cover prompt, the start new series prompt. Genre you don't typically read. No, really. But besides that, I had a lovely day. We went on a picnic, and that was nice, and then we went on a walk. It was really freaking cold, and then we also chilled and watched Parks and Recs, so that's fun. Okay, so it's now 7:46, so I've got a couple hours, and I am about 12% into the Rhapsodic, which is the first into Bargainer series. So what I said about the synopsis is still accurate. It's about a girl called Calypso who, from her 16th birthday till her 17th, she's collected over 230 bargains, like these beads on her bracelet, from the bargainer, who's this like magical creature, and he's come to collect. So actually what I didn't realize is that she's a siren. She's the type of siren where her voice, her commands are basically the law, and she can control men and maybe women, I don't know, but she can control people. It's going so quickly. I maybe should have stayed with this one. It's such a fast, easy writing. I'm already feeling the vibes for the romance, although I'm only 12% in. It's already kind of speaking to me. I'm really enjoying that part, and I'm thinking I'm gonna enjoy the book quite a lot. Not because there was anything like super captivating, but it just reads quickly, and the fact that the couple I'm already on board with, I think there's gonna be some really good juicy romance. I'm hoping it's gonna get quite like, you know, steamy. I think I'm gonna read maybe till like 10, 11 and then call it a night, but I'll update you maybe in a little bit. I'm probably gonna have maybe a face mask today. That sounds like fun, no? And I saw that Gavin was doing a face mask, so like, why shouldn't I? It's part of the readathon now. Update. Okay, it's 9:30 almost. It's not quite, and I read 23%. We love a book that just goes by so quickly. But anyway, I did read, and I don't know, it's just such a weird I'm liking it a lot. I like the chemistry. I think the plot's gonna be quite interesting. I just think that I'm getting really sleazy vibes and I don't know what it is. I think it's just the fact that when the main character Calypso, which by the way I think is a super cool name, Calypso met Bargainer. She was not even 16 yet, and then they were like hanging out loads, and like he's a grown man, like he's a fairy, so I'm not sure about his age, but like they were like hanging out loads, like it's weird. It's giving me like weird grooming vibes. And then he comes back like when she's like 23, which is better. And like I know, Bella and Edward are the same thing, and like all these I literally said in some video like, oh, like that doesn't really bother me. But if you like kinda like he's kinda like, oh you're 16, like acting like it's not appropriate, then I'm like, it's kinda not appropriate. And just the fact, I don't know, that he's not like stuck in a 17-year-old's body, you know, he's like an immortal creature. I don't know, it's just I still quite like the romance, and like I said, I can forgive it. Like I can kind of look past it because it's a book, it's fiction, there are no fairies, there are no immortal beings as far as we know. So for that reason I feel like I can be like, yeah, it's fine because it's fiction, it's a book. But just the fact that it's like a thing that they kind of talk about, like he's like, I don't like grant bargains to minors. Oh, it's just a bit like, just a bit weird. I don't know. Like it's icky. Like now they're adults, I guess so it's fine, but they're icky. And he is a bit like domineering, and the way the bargain collects is just like a bit like literally takes over her body and does things for her. Like she feels like she's gonna die and suffocate. So it's all a bit grim. Now I feel bad saying I'm liking it because I just said all these creepy things about the creepy book. I am liking it, and just something to be aware of and something to think on, I think. Okay, all that being said, they have good chemistry, especially when she's of age, and it is pretty sexy, not gonna lie. Well, it is Monday. So Becca's Bookopoly is officially over. I've ended up reading about 42% of the Rhapsodic, which I was like blown away because that just blew by so fast. I barely read. Like I feel like I read for a couple minutes or like an hour and I got halfway through it. I did quite enjoy it. I think it is, well, it's not steamy yet, but I think they have good chemistry. I think the plot's gonna end up being quite interesting, and still haven't had like, we had like a soft launch of the plot, the B plot, not just the romance. It definitely has all those female, super protective, quite territorial. Then there's werewolves, also territorial. So it has all of those good hallmarks of fantasy romance. So if you're into it, I mean, I give it a chance. Like I said, there's some weird things. I got weird vibes with the whole she was 16 and he wasn't, and smells like grooming to me, but okay. If you can just like put that away as this is fiction, we're talking about a bargainer fae and like a siren, then I think you're okay if you can just like put that away. But if you don't like that kind of thing, I would steer away. I mean, this is more, you know, fantasy romance can be a little bit taboo at times. Obviously you're not supposed to take this as gospel, but that means I filled a couple of prompts. I think dark book cover, check. Fantasy, check. POC rep, check. Contemporary, we're not doing that in this house. First book in the series, check. Chance card, I didn't do that. And set in the present day, Rhapsodic is. Other. A book from a genre you don't typically read. I don't really read that much sci-fi, but I don't think it should count. I don't like 5 out of 8. I think that's pretty decent. The fact that I even ended up reading at all, well, kind of blew me out of the water because I was not expecting it, but it ended up being okay. I had a really nice time, really fun weekend. I watched a couple of the sprints, especially the last one was really fun. I saw a lot of stills from Gavin's one. Apparently that was crazy, kind of sad I missed it. I had a nice time. Ended up not stressing too much. I think sometimes readathons can get really stressful because you see people actually reading 8 books and you're there like, I haven't read one. But anyway, I did have fun. I thank you so much to Becca for organizing it. I think it was brilliant how you did it. I can't even imagine the amount of coordination and work that went into making this 48-hour live experience. That is just kudos to you. I think that's super amazing. I had a lot of fun. Like I said, maybe next time I can actually dedicate the whole weekend and read 8 books like some of you champions, because people are amazing. I saw people on Twitter being like 8 books, whatever. If you enjoyed the video, if you could please like, comment, and subscribe, I'd really appreciate it. But that's it from me, and I see you in my next video. Bye.